Hello YouTube, Michael here, novice wild camper. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm just going to be doing a little overview stroke review of my homemade cat can stove, fancy feast stove, whatever you want to call it, against a Trangia. Just because of something that I came up against when I was on my last camp at Great Mist Tour. So stay tuned, hope you find it interesting, and see you in a second. Basically, the main difference between these two, obviously the Trangia has been around for donkey's years. They're not the cheapest things. Generally we'll buy them in a kit. I think the entire lot of mine cost about 90 quid. But obviously you can buy it on its own for about 12, 13 pounds, as opposed to this, which is completely free. This is simply a tuna tin with a sweetcorn tin, and I've used some loft insulation, some roofing, some felt that goes in there. Essentially the fuel goes in, it soaks up into the felt, you light it, there you go. It has a built-in pot stand. The pots can just sit on top of there, so you haven't got to worry about any kind of a stand, whereas obviously the Trangia you can't. On my last trip I did use these that I bought from AliExpress, which is just a little cross stand, sits on top of the Trangia to give you a stand and some height above the flames. I found that my homemade stand was sitting a bit too low. It wasn't designed around the Trangia, it was designed for the penny stove that I made. But I struggled to boil water. It seemed to take forever. I don't know if that's down to one of two things. One is this was quite dirty. I have used a pin and gone through all the holes. It hasn't seemed to make a massive difference. What I have done though recently is I've changed the meths to a 10% part water, so that it doesn't soot up all the pots and pans. There's nothing worse, you cook and then when you pick it up your hands are black and you can't get it off, you've got to go and wash somewhere. It works perfectly well, there's no reason why it should make any difference. There's lots of tests out there on YouTube that people have done it with a water mix. So I did 10% water in with the meths. But it just doesn't seem to boil very well. It tends to take a long time, whereas this works a lot better. However, you can simmer with this. Excuse me, the tractor going past. You can simmer with this, so it's easier to do things like bacon or meat or cooking. But the last trip that I went on, I did my first Wayfarer meal, so they just boil in the bag, so I just need to heat water up. And in the morning, although I don't agree with rushing and finding the fastest boiling mechanism for when you're wild camping, I think you should just relax and enjoy it a bit more. But in the morning I wanted to get packed up, I wanted to head off, and I had an appointment I had to keep, and I wanted to make a coffee before I left, and it seemed to take hours to boil the water. So I'm contemplating going back to this. So I'm going to do a little home test. A boil time of about 480 ml of water, so about 2 cups, American style, and do a test comparison between the Fancy Meat Feast and the Trangia. Hope you find it useful. So I'm going to use my Seed Summit X mug, which holds 480 ml. So they are both exactly the same, except for the bit I just poured on the floor. It's already gone out. Definitely not right. Take 2. Right, I'll leave that to bloom for a bit. It's hard to see the flames, but that is it's definitely bloomed anyway. It's very hard to tell when that's actually on. Okay, just a rough indicator. Stopwatch is going. Okay, so that's gone out again. This is the issue I kept having. Trangia, that's hot, kept going out. Couldn't understand why. I'm leaving it to bloom. I'm going to leave it longer this time. Let's try again. Okay, so I've had 3 attempts at lighting the Trangia and using the pot stand as well, and it's gone out each time. So I don't know if I've got a faulty Trangia or not. I hope not, because it cost a fortune. This is the kit I got, which is the UL25 kit, so it's the larger one. So I'm gonna do it again, but I'm gonna use their own pot stand. So it can't be me and my pot stand, because this shouldn't cause an issue to it at all. It seemed to work before, but this was the problem I had when I was camping at Great Mist Tor the last time. It took forever to make a cup of coffee. This kept going out. It never fully boiled it. It ended up just hot. I could put my finger in it, but it made for a warm cup of coffee. So I'll try again in this and see where we go. Okay, timer has started. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm going to call that a boil. It's pretty much there, and that was 6 minutes 20 seconds. Now, I don't know why it didn't work with the pot stand. So now that it's fully going, I might try it again with the pot stands to see if it was to do with the time frame of having it warm up or what. I don't know. I mean, I let it bloom. There shouldn't be any issues with it. It's worked before, not been a problem. So I might give that a go. But we'll do a comparison as well there with the Fancy Feast stove. So I'm using the other pot because the other one is still hot, just so there's no advantages over it. We'll see how quick this one does it. So 6 minutes and 20 on the last one. I do have a little Leatherman tool I usually use to take this off with, that I bring camping with me. Not a massive pair of pliers. So that took a painful 9.5 minutes. Not great. So I'm going to swap it over now, and I'm going to use the Cat Can Fancy Feast, see what that comes out, boiling exactly the same. Let's hope it's quicker. When I fill this, I put a load in the middle, which is the sort of reserve fuel, but it doesn't really burn from the centre, it burns from around the outside. So once I have put enough in the middle here, I'll then just trickle some around the outside to give it a start, and then it will soak up through the insulation felt and continue burning. That acts like a wick. It's a lot easier to light than the Trangia as well. Okay, same amount, just under 500 ml. So see if we can beat 925. Okay, quite an amazing difference. We are at 2 minutes 48 seconds, and that is at a boil. Now I guarantee this uses more fuel than the others. It has to make it that quicker. But the efficiency might be taken over by the fact that, or the lack of efficiency might be taken over by the fact that it boils it a lot quicker. As I say, I'm not one for rushing around and racing while I'm enjoying the wild and being out wild camping. It is about enjoying it and sitting back and relaxing and letting the world rush by. So these boil tests that I see online, I think, get a bit over the top, where everyone's trying to save a few seconds here and there. But there are times, like when I was at Great Miss Tour, that it wasn't boiling, and all I wanted was a cup of coffee, and also to pull on my food. So, you know, I had warm food, not boiling. It was okay. And eventually I had a warm coffee, but it just took so long. I thought this is not working right. So going forward, the Fancy Feast, albeit a lot larger than the Trangia, it fits inside my cooker exactly the same, so it takes up no extra space. There's probably no weight difference. I'll weigh them now just to check. Going to use my pot grippers because that's going to be hot. 108 grams for the Fancy Feast, 113. This has got a bit more fuel in it, so pretty much the same. So there you have it. No real weight gain or benefit between the two. Most definitely a benefit over speed and the efficiency of the boiling, I think, with the Fancy Feast can stove, but you can't simmer with it, so that's the only downside. So depending upon what you are going to be cooking when you go away, so I think when I go with boiling the bag meals, which I think I'm going to start trying to make some of my own stuff at home, because they are expensive, and you could probably make it for a tenth of the price, to be honest. Then all you need to do is boil the water. So that's as simple as it needs to be, or as hard as it needs to be. The Trangia, a bit more versatile if you're going to be doing some more gourmet cooking. But other than that, yeah, I'll be taking this going forward with for coffees and my boiling the bag meals. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. Only a short, quick video. Thought I'd do it because it was something that annoyed me while I was out. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and any comments, please put them in the section below. I might make a video of me making one of these. They're fairly straightforward though, but I could do a comparison as well with the penny stove. But there's loads of videos out there like it. But yeah, very efficient, works well. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.